What up, players? Wallbots Tay up in this mode. Welcome to the last video on how to paint an Ogre Firebelly. It is not really completed yet. I would say that this is the last part of the video for now, which is where we get up to this point, but anything after this is really going to be you know, an added bonus, like doing the object source lighting on the hammer and on the, you know, on the beetle head, stuff like that. Would really be after this. But this, if you want a really nice tabletop quality, I think this is a good standard to work for. And using the techniques and stuff, the techniques are pretty simple across the board. A lot of the work is done by the shades, and all that stuff gets taken care of for you. And really anybody, I think anybody can paint up to this standard here today. We just use some simple blending in this video, or in this process as a whole, and some dry brushing techniques and really simple techniques like that. So today this is the standard that you're going to work your Ogre Firebelly up to, and by the end he'll be ready for playing. So thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for supporting my videos, and see you in the rest of the video. Alright, so after a little time away, we are ready to come back and finish this Samoan Fire Dancer. So the first thing we're going to do with him is, let's start off with something fun and paint up these little tusks and bones and stuff that are hanging out on his gut plate. So Rakarth Flesh is going to be our de facto bone color that we're going to come back to after the shading. Got pretty dark. Got pretty dark. This is definitely one of those models that I'm going to be so glad when I'm done with. I mean, I've been looking at him over the past couple days, you know, while I'm getting back into Skyrim and trying to do other things with my life so that I don't get burned out on the hobby. And oh man, just looking at this guy just made me so, I don't know, antsy. Oh, I gotta finish him. People are expecting me to finish you. I can't let down the Ogre player community. But just, you know, all these fine cast mistakes and just the color scheme and all this terrifying OSL stuff that I'm probably not going to do. I'm going to leave that up to the experts. It's just, you know, a little intimidating. Alright. So I'm glad I've got him, though. I'm glad I'm going to finish him up today. Looking forward to it. And I don't know, do people use Firebellies? I haven't seen any in online lists, any Firebellies out there. Maybe they don't use them as much as like when they first came out. I don't know. They look cool. I mean, for the amount of time that you spend painting them. I'm sorry, I am just kind of wasting time while I bring up the image of the Firebelly online at gamesworkshop.com. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, I'm looking at the rules again and the rule book and stuff. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to get back on now, and we're going to highlight up, if I can find my chainmail. I'm going to highlight up the gut plate. There it is. No, this is Mithril Silver. Ah! Igor. Yes, master. Could you do me a favor and find me some chainmail, please? Right away, master. Here you are. Thank you, my boy. That's a good lad. So what we're gonna do is pretty much paint this on to the rivets. Remember, the last thing we really did with the gut plates was to give it a nice red wash. So now we're going to kind of make it look like the metal is kind of scratching on the ends. So we're going to just paint the edges of the gut plate with chainmail now. And then a little bit of where the round edge of the gut plate is. Yep. Just then there are like random spots down here. Very good. I'm going to put a little bit more, work it into the gold. So for this, what I'm doing is I'm kind of following the lines of the gold metal. Chainmail, if you'll remember from the old color range, is one of those very tricky colors that is very quick to dry on the brush. So we must work fast. Pretty much following all the edges of the gold and all the lines and down the center. So we have a very nice looking outline. Ta-da! We're gonna do the same thing with the sword on the back. Start by following the edges. Oh, focus, Igor. Sorry, master. Okay, there. That's not bad at all. It's quite lovely. The belt has a buckle, which I was waiting until we got our wash in to do, but now that all that is dry, we can get our belt buckle painted. Whew, there we go. And so the last thing is really the hammer staff, or the staff, what am I talking about? The head of the hammer, where the metal touches the stone. It's going to give like a light brushing around the metal to give it that same impression of wear and tear, chipping, weathering on the sides. Don't want too much. Okay, now we are going to start highlighting up the skin again. Oh, we're already 9 minutes into the first clip. So we're gonna take some Cadian Flesh Tone. We're gonna start highlighting up this ogre. Right. Here's where things are going to get a little bit tricky. So it looks like you highlight up pretty brightly the skin that is closest to the fire, which makes sense. It's reflecting, right? It's nice and bright. It looks like it's the left arm and a little bit of the torso, shoulder, and sorry, focus please. And it looks like we're going to be leaving most of under the neck, and okay, so it's like over here is highlighted the right shoulder, the right side of the chest. Interesting. Unless this is Photoshop, it looks like the painter Anya kind of got the, or left the area under the chin dark, down here between the torso, the gut plate and the necklace dark, as well as the like the right side of the body is kind of dark as well. I didn't do that. Yeah, it's got this weird dark brownish kind of look, but then like the legs, because the legs are so big and kind of placed forward, the legs are highlighted. The feet, the toes. Yeah, it's really interesting. We'll see. Well, you know what? I am not as good as a heavy metal painter. I'm not as good as you, Anya. Anya! I'm playing some Gears of War. Sorry if you didn't get that reference. Anya was hot. So I'm just gonna highlight like usual. Games Workshop, until you start making tutorials like me, where you can walk us painters through what your super awesome professional painters do, then I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to rely on what I know. I wish I knew more. That's alright. Lifelong learners. As someone who works in the educational system, that's like it's a big buzzword. Lifelong learning. Just keep on learning. Never stop learning. Never stop trying out new things, finding what works for you. It is the way to go. It's why we move on to our PS3s and Xbox 360s instead of just staying on our Super Nintendos. Try new things. We change with the times, you know? Okay. And it looks like Anya mixed some of the flesh tones with what looks to be... Man, she really did some extreme line work. I'm gonna say Rakarth flesh just because it's nice and pale and can mix pretty nicely. So I'm gonna mix 1-to-1, so an even amount of Rakarth flesh with Cadian flesh tone, and now we're gonna do the highlighting for this ogre. Hey, if you guys new ogre players out there, I definitely suggest going to check out the Ogre Kingdoms community at like there's a great community. They have a magazine called the Bellower. It's called Ogre Stronghold. Great group of guys. So many inspiring things there to look at. Project logs, tactics, so many cool things. So go check it out, Ogre Stronghold. Yeah, it looks like she actually did some edge highlighting on all of the individual muscles, and I am not going to be that precise. I'm just going to use this as a general highlight. It seems to work really well. It has that nice bit of paleness to it that really is going to make the skin tone pop out. And just make it look like a single slab. Painting the back too, as well. Love these ogre figures. I mean, despite all the fine cast shenanigans, and the fact that Games Workshop produces these large, you know, figures, so much larger than the regular other 20mm size, just really lets you go crazy with the painting. And you can hardly tell that this was a big fine cast mess when it came out of the package. actually looks pretty good. It actually almost looks like the light is reflecting on those parts that I painted up. Okay, so in the next part of the video, what we're going to do is we are going to highlight up the hammer a little bit, and what I am choosing to try out, we'll see how it works. You know, if it doesn't work, then we tried. Try again next time. Is we're going to try dry brushing this Terminatus stone. And I don't know if I've ever used a dry compound from the paint range before, so cross your fingers. Wipe the majority off because these dry paints is not like a regular paint where you don't want it on your brush really. It's a dry brush. So we're just gonna make sure we can see it and painting it on. It's a very creamy kind of look to it. Done pretty nicely. Whew. I might go back over this with another known oil glaze layer a little bit later, but for now I think it's okay. And it actually looks like when I'm looking at the picture right now that the Games Workshop model is more, let's say, whitish gray rather than this creamy kind of white, but it said stone on it, so I thought it would look good for the stone. Games Workshop, false advertisement. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do like a little bit of a thin glaze of known oil to help out with that, but that's alright. Let's move on to the fire. Fire. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with Mechanicus Standard Gray. It's the standard of all Mechanicuses. And I'm using this Army Painter monster brush as, I'm kind of using it as a dry brush though. And we're going to paint the underside of all of our flames, because remember the last time we touched these flames they were black. So now we're gonna see if we can lighten them up a little bit. The goal is, if you were looking at the flame from the bottom, looks like all of the bottoms of clouds would be gray in progressively lighter colors, and the very tops of this like poofy cloud of flame is what is really dark black. And in the Games Workshop website, there's actually more licks of flame on the inside, but I don't think I'm going to paint that. You can if you want. Just do what you did for the flame down here, paint it in white, and then go over it again in Cassandora yellow. For me though, I think it'll look cooler, less cluttered without it. But you're going to see what it looks like without it, and hopefully it'll be good. Dawnstone. The next color we're going to dry brush on. So now I'm going to be kind of selective. Instead of hitting all of these clouds, I'm going to leave some of them untouched. Alright, and the last one we're gonna do is some Celestra Gray. Yeah, it's like Anya really went to town on some of these. Funny because as light as she makes some of these from the bottom look, at the tops, some of them are really dark. These cloud smoke poofs. There. That is pretty cool. There's our fire poof cloud. Okay, what can we do now? Let's do the tattoos. Like for these tattoos, you have a kind of dark brown, really dark brown looking ink. So let's see if I can find our. There we go. No, Rhinox. Should we go Rhinox? Should we go darker? Give me a minute. Okay, hey gang, we're kind of in the home stretch now. We're just going to be painting up the tattoos. I did a little test experiment on this guy's leg to see how the Dryad bark works, and the Dryad bark works really well as the tattoo color, so we're going to stick with that. And we're just going to kind of be making these, you know, swirly fire designs. I'm using a nice thin tip brush. Yeah, and we're using, like I said, Dryad bark for this. So we're doing nice swirly designs all the way across the legs, and you want to make them look as randomly placed as possible. I really, really wish they would kind of show where the, what it looks like on the back of these, on the back of the model, because it only shows the front on the Games Workshop website. So you're gonna have to do a lot of guessing as to, you know, what does the design look like in the back? I don't know. Does it go all the way to his butt cheeks? Probably. That's where the flames are coming from. Fire in the hole! Gross. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, he's got this really cool neck tattoo that we're gonna try to recreate now. So you kind of see what I did there for the leg. Kind of wraps around, and looks like there's one more piece. One more, I guess we'll call it a tendril. Did I tell you guys that I heard this rumor? Or it wasn't a rumor, it's just like, you know, wish listing. I think I read it that said, oh yeah, the Great Maw is a Tyranid Hive fleet ship that got lost in the warp and blew out on in the Warhammer Fantasy world. And I was like, what? Tyranid Hive fleet? What you talking about? Shoo! That is just crazy. And they're like, oh yeah, the Great Maw, that's why it's so hungry, because it's a Tyranid alien fleet that just comes in and absorbs all the biomass. It's like, you guys. That is some severe thinking. Super awesome flamey neck tattoo. I'm trying to copy as closely as I can the design on the Games Workshop model, but I don't know if I'll be able to get it. Kind of messed it up. Nah, it's not that bad. Considering how miserable this fine cast sculpt has been for me. It's not so bad at all. Just making licks of swirly, flamey, tattooy goodness there. Okay, and it goes all the way around. Wrap around the legs and the arms. And there you have it. He is just about done. I'm gonna do the basing, and oh, there's one more thing I want to do with you guys though before I forget. He's got his lunch hanging there, right? So we're gonna need to give it some good old Tamiya Red X27. My Tamiya Red brush. So you guys know how much I love Tamiya Red. I also like to mix it with a little bit of Chaos Black or Abaddon Black to make it not as not as red. Give it a little bit of that oxidized blood look. Little snack for later. Alright, and there you have it, players. He is just about done. I'm going to do the basing now, and when we come back, I'll show you the finished model. We'll wrap up this little series and get on to the next video. Looked a little too dark there. Okay, we'll see you when we return. Check it out. Ooh, ooh, bloody. Alright players, so this is our model, and I love how cool it looks with the blood splatter now on the hand. It's just that little pop of color. But we're gonna call this finished for now. He's totally based up, he's all painted up, and he's ready for playing. Is he finished though? I wouldn't say he is. No, he's there's still some highlighting that I could do, like with the skin, with the bandages here on the hammer. And of course there's the OSL, the object source lighting, that I haven't really tried yet, but it's just pretty intimidating when you look at it. So I'm gonna work on my technique, but this is just a beginner's guide to painting your Ogre Firebelly. Really easy, really simple, anybody can do it. And you know, it just takes practice and a little bit of brush discipline, but like the tricks, you know, like using the yellow wash on the white to produce all these oranges and yellows, I think it's so cool. It's really cool. And using the white to dry brush the underside of the smoke clouds makes a really evocative looking puff of smoke, and just the way that the colors blend and match together to do this kind of non-metallic metal kind of glossy surface for the fire beetle head. I think there's a lot of great techniques that I was able to work on, and that I'm really happy for the practice in. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to paint an Ogre Firebelly. Don't forget to check out Project 1 Gaming, all the information in the links below, and stay tuned for the barcode to scan it for a 20% off the commission discount. Thanks for watching everybody, we'll see you in the next one.